To begin, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, if you ever get wind of this video or come across it, I have just this to say to you. Fuck you and the high horse you rode in on. Now that I've got that out of my system, I want to discuss an item or more I found on my Facebook feed within the last few days, which has to do with the Duggars. Most of the hoopla surrounding the Duggars these days surrounds a Change.org petition demanding the Learning Channel, or TLC, cancel the Duggars reality TV show 19 Kids and Counting, in light of Jim Bob and Michelle helping efforts to repeal Chapter 119 of Fayetteville, Arkansas Ordinance 5703, which passed in August of this year, and which includes members of the LGBTQ community under the umbrella of protection against discrimination in matters of equal access to housing, employment, and public accommodations. Before the ordinance passed, Michelle Duggar recorded a robocall message to convince voters to vote against the ordinance, using wording and language that can only be described as fear-mongering, especially given the context of Jim Bob and Michelle's beliefs, the voicing of which, by the way, has contributed to people, including LGBTQ people, getting hurt and or killed. Matthew Shepard, anyone? But I see some delicious irony in what Michelle said in the robocall message, in which she makes several references to the safety of women and children and girls, conflates transgender women and men, and claims they have past child predator convictions, though she has no proof that transgender folk have any convictions of any kind, past or otherwise. Also, LGBTQ folk are more likely to be victims than perpetrators of violence. From the robocall message, I doubt that Fayetteville parents would stand for a law that would endanger their daughters or allow them to be traumatized by a man joining them in their private space. Yet Michelle and so many others like her give religious leaders carte blanche in that area, who are more likely than LGBTQ people to abuse children. Doug Phillips, Bill Grabass Gothard, the Roman Catholic Church, and the Jehovah's Witnesses are just examples of this. Also, boys can't be endangered or traumatized, and by men, Jerry Sandusky, anyone? We should never place the preference of an adult over the safety and innocence of a child, unless you're bringing them up in the ways of the Lord. Right, Michelle? I still believe that we are a society that puts women and children first, especially if they're good, God-fearing Christians who never question anyone they're told is in a position of authority over them and are being raised to be, and if they're children, being raised to be just as close-minded as their parents and all the other adults in their lives are. Will you speak up for protecting women and children? But this isn't about protecting women and children, but rather the so-called rights of bigots, religiously inspired or otherwise, to discriminate against people who are different from them. In this case, the LGBTQ community. I went to the trouble of finding the ordinance in question and found a PDF copy on ordinance number 5703, chapter 119, and read the whole damn thing. Want to know what I found? 11907, General Exceptions J. Designating a facility as a gender-segregated space shall not be a violation of this chapter. Nothing in this chapter shall be construed as allowing any person to enter any gender-segregated space for any unlawful purpose. Well, I guess that just blows Michelle's whole robocall message right out of the water. QED, Michelle. As for the Change.org petition, nobody is saying that Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar can't spew their venom on their website or their Facebook page or their Twitter feed, for instance, but they shouldn't be rewarded financially or otherwise for doing so. And they shouldn't be rewarded for using their platform for denying rights to other people. And I hope the campaign to repeal Ordinance number 5703, Chapter 119 fails, and spectacularly, even with Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar's help.